Hi everyone. Today we're going to have a look at shadows. Why do we want to look at shadows? Because actually, as photographers, for us, although the subject is really important, one of the main things that you're working with is light. And depending on how your light appears, whether it's hard light, where it's coming from one direction, or whether it's a more subtle light, where it's bounced around all over, shadows are often a part of this. And you can make them an important feature of your composition. I've got an example here for you. If you have a look at this light switch, it is incredibly boring the way it is at the moment. However, put the blinds down, as soon as the sunshine came through, we get a much more interesting pattern. I've also included a couple of my other shots just to give you an idea of what you can actually do with shadows. So, as per my 3-minute challenge, I am wanting you to go and have a look in your kitchen, just have a little look to see what you might be able to find to create some interesting shadows. And what we'll do is I'll jump right in with a list of things that you might need or you could use. Simple things. So there's absolutely no excuse not to shoot. And let's see if we can hit the 3-minute challenge. Okay, let's jump right in. Okay, so one of the first things that we're going to need is a relatively dimly lit room. So here I am, I'm just gonna close the blinds. There we go, just getting rid of a little bit of light. Secondly, you're going to need a relatively strong light source. Really, I do think that your camera phone should be enough. If you're struggling to find one, all you would need to do is just try and close your blinds to get that extra bit of contrast. But a torch, anything like that will do, particularly when it's not a very bright day. If it was a bright day, you could just simply look at the sunshine streaming in through your window and you could use that as directional light. But for our purposes, we're just going to use a really strong light source. Next up is number 4. And this involves choosing interesting objects, but easy objects that you can find around the house, and choosing what we want to do that we might think would make interesting shadows. So here we go. Here's item number 1, a sheet of paper to give us some contrast. Item number 2, I've chosen a fork. Item number 3, I have these really cute little bottles. Can you see we've got some lovely colours coming off them? And the last 2 items, I've got a book and I've got a lens. Just a UV lens, bog standard UV lens that you would use on a DSLR camera. And with the book and the lens, I'm hoping to produce a classic shot, a classic shadow shot that you all might have seen before. So I'm going to set this up now and we'll jump right in again. So with the countdown on the clock of 3 minutes, first up is our book. There we go. It looks pretty plain and pretty boring, but we'll get that nicely framed up so we can get it ready for the shot. And the item that I'm going to balance on the book, if it will work for me, because I'm on a bit of a slope, is this lens here. Let's just see if we can get it to balance. It is a bit tricky. I tried it earlier, and because my couch, where I've placed everything, is on a bit of a slope, it might be a bit of a balancing act. We need the lens towards the back of the book so that we can project the shadows forward. Let's just have a little look. Is it going to go? Wait a minute. I'm going to have to move things around, guys. Let's just hold the clock there. It's moments like this when you really do need to improvise. So I've got my little bottles, and if I pop them underneath, just like that, hopefully that will raise the back of the book enough to compensate for the slope on my couch. So now let's see if we can get our lens balanced up. Yeah, but we need it a little bit more in shot. There we go. And this is the exciting part when we actually get to add the light. So watch what happens, because I'm sure you'll all agree at the moment that is a pretty boring shot. However, adding the light, we can create a lovely shape at the front of the book. So I'm just going to move this back a bit because we are experimenting. And as I move it, can you see? We have this beautiful heart appearing with the combination of the light and the lens and the book. So I think that's going to be my shot number 1. So I'll just shoot that. Here we go. For shot number 2, I'm going to experiment with my little bright coloured bottles. So in order to produce some contrast, I'll take my sheet of paper. Obviously, any rough edges can be edited out at the editing stage. And then I'm going to place my pretty little bottles on my sheet of paper like this. And then again, in terms of a shot, it's not particularly interesting. However, as soon as you begin to add the light, you can see how the colours have started to bleed into one another, and we get quite an interesting effect, even as we're just moving the light source around. So I think actually from there, I think that's a quite nice shot. We've got some shadows, but we've actually got them coloured. And you can achieve a similar effect if you put gels, which are like coloured pieces of cellophane, over your lens. Obviously don't, over your light source, sorry. Don't leave them there indefinitely because you don't want to start a fire or anything, but you can achieve a similar effect by doing that. So I think I'll just take that shot there. Okay, and we'll move on to shot number 3. So here we are for shot number 3. So I deliberately chose just something really common that's in most kitchens, well, in everybody's kitchen probably, which is a fork. Now, as you can see, as with the other items that we used previously, this looks pretty boring. If you were to shoot that, it wouldn't look great. So again, what we'll do is we will add the light source, and as you can see, as soon as those shadows start to appear, the shot becomes so much more atmospheric. So there we go. I'll take that shot there. So there we go. If you want to stick around, guys, I'll edit these up and we can have a look at how playing around with light and shadows can really enhance very quickly your photos. And again, I'm pretty sure that I've actually hit my 3-minute challenge, but we shall see. Stick around for the final edits. So here are the final edits, just so that you can get a flavour of how powerful shadows can actually be in your photography. I've included a before and an after photograph. Well, I hope you'll agree with me that actually shadows are pretty cool. And you don't have to produce a masterpiece. Just have a look at producing maybe some before and after photos. So before you take the shadows, after you take the shadows, and you know, if I can do this, balancing an iPhone in one hand and my light source in the other, then there's no excuses really. So the best thing is to off you go and have a go. You never know. Bye guys.